Well, hi everyone, Casey Truffaut here with Be a Wealthy Therapist, and this is our first free lesson in how to offer VIP services. So this is our first lesson in our free learning series. I can't wait to share this with you. Now, in this lesson we're going to be talking about how to structure a VIP day or an intensive, and I'm going to use those two words interchangeably. VIP day for some can sound plush and luxurious, and for others, intensive might be the right word. You get to choose what will work best for you and your market and your license. So what is a VIP day or an intensive? The way I look at it is that it's a focused and extended period of time with one unit of treatment. Now, it's possible to do VIP days and intensives with groups. That is possible, but here we're just going to talk about one unit of treatment. Some people might say, well, it's 3 or 4 sessions put together. You get to decide how you want to structure it, and later in this lesson we'll be talking about how to do that. First, I want to, though, talk about what makes a successful VIP day. First, it's a finite amount of time. Your clients can be very nervous coming to an intensive or a VIP day. You want to make sure that they know what's expected in terms of the amount of time. Some people think that going overtime is a gift to the client, and while it may be perceived that way, it can also be perceived as a lack of organization on the therapist's part. Plus, it can be thought of as frightening actually for the client. So make sure that your VIP day has a certain amount of time. Might be 3 hours, might be 5 hours, might be a week. You get to decide that, but make sure both you and the client are clear on that. Throughout your intensive or your VIP day, make sure that you have planned breaks at least every hour. You also want to have some kind of snacks. I would encourage some kind of protein or fruit or something that would make them feel nourished. You also want to make sure that you have water, and lots of people like coffee or tea. That's kind of up to you. You also want to, throughout your intensive or your VIP day, you want to regularly check in with your client and make sure that it's going the way that they're looking for. Make sure that they're getting the right success out of it. Now, the number one mistake that most people make with VIP days or intensives is that they're too intense. They actually put too much information in. They look at them as educational, which you may or may not do. That becomes more of a legal and ethical question. But if you decide to do it as a regular 3-hour therapy session, say, you want to make sure that you don't try to put too much information in there. You know how it is when you're in a session with someone and you're trying to get in a couple of interventions at the end, and it can be very disconcerting for both you and the client. It's the same way with intensives or VIP days. Don't fire hose the client. Give them enough to where they feel connected with you. I remember when I was a junior level therapist, I always felt that I had to do more. And what I found out is that that is not necessarily true. Relax. In fact, probably one of the best things that you can do is just relax and be present. Be yourself. Be the therapist that you are. This is no different. It's just for an extended period of time. Because offering intensives or VIP days are actually easier than you think, especially if you put in breaks and snacks and take a little time out. Perhaps you'll give them exercises, or perhaps you'll just take a break. We'll talk more about that in just a sec. But my main point here is please just relax. Now, people often ask, what kind of topics could we do an intensive or VIP day on? If you're working with addiction, you can certainly have intensives related around that. Or here are just some examples. Clear your relationship clutter and find a great partner might be one. Or get a grip on your anxiety. Or some type of marriage enrichment. When you're titling these, you want to make sure that they sound appealing to your client. Now, in terms of the structure, you want to decide on the amount of time. Some people do 3 hours or 4 hours, even 5 hours. When you're starting out, I recommend that you might want to start at 3 or 3.5. You want to break that time up to make sure that we're adding time for breaks or exercises, just to clear the palate, so to speak. Also, at the end of this, you want to make sure that you give both you and the client enough time to debrief. A lot of people will just give 10 minutes. I don't think that's enough. I think you need to give at least 15 minutes, even up to maybe 20 minutes to half an hour. You want to make sure that your client is leaving feeling like this was a good experience and like they got something out of it. for a sample schedule for 3 hours, here's what it could look like. You could start, say, at 9 a.m. and go 9 to 9:50 for the first part. Maybe take a break between 9:50 and 10 o'clock. You could have them do an exercise during that time, or you could just make it a bathroom break, or maybe run to the coffee shop and get a cup of coffee break. 10 to 10:45 could be your second part. 10:45 to 11, another break or exercise. 11:15 or 11 to 11:45. Looks like I'm left out 15 minutes there. 11:15 to 11:45, part 3. Or 11:45 to 12 is debrief. Again, I think 15 minutes is probably too light. You could probably do a little bit longer. But make sure if you're going to do longer that you and the client have both agreed how long the intensive or the VIP day is going to be before you start. Now, after you have your first VIP day or intensive, celebrate, and then really sit down and think about what worked for you. Was it the right amount of time? Was it the right client? Did you try to offer too much? And then make your adjustments as needed. So what do you do to get started now that we've talked about the structure? You want to name it, design the structure, how you're going to deliver it, price it, and then beta test it with one client. Then that'll give you the opportunity to test it, see what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Was it the right fee that you charged? Was it the right structure? And then go for it. In our next free lesson, we're going to talk about what to consider in your concierge services. Concierge services are where they can get a little bit more time or a little different time they can get a little bit more time or different time with you. I look forward to talking with you about that then. Take care. Bye-bye.